I'm Kelly McLaughlin, Deputy Director and Director of Outcomes Assessment at Yale University's Center for International and Professional Experience. It is my pleasure to serve once again on behalf of the signature event, the Forum on Education Abroad's Undergraduate Research Awards. Leading the second half of our program today will be my co-chair, Cheryl Matherly, who is Vice Provost for Global Education and Applied Assistant Professor of Education at the University of Tulsa. The Undergraduate Research Awards have been given out since 2004. The research projects by the students represent the very best examples of education abroad learning outcomes and are always a highlight of the conference. The Forum also thanks the School for Field Studies and C Semester for their sponsorship of this plenary and asks representatives of these programs to stand and please be recognized. The Forum further thanks the sponsors of the Undergraduate Research Awards, which makes it possible for the students to attend the conference to present their research. Would representatives from SIT Study Abroad and Kappa International Education please stand and be recognized. Our first winner is a young gentleman by the name of Richard Hong, a graduate from the University of California, San Diego. While at UCSD, Richard participated in the University of California Education Abroad program at the Mexico Field Research Program. Before calling Richard to the podium, however, I'd like to share, and I note this is with permission, a few words from the author of Richard's recommendation letter. Richard, you might close your ears, I don't know. Dr. Max Parra, director of the UC Mexico Study Center, wrote, "In the last 3 years, approximately 50 UC students have participated in the field research program in Mexico. Mr. Hong has been among the best, perhaps the best, of students in this program. Focused, self-driven, very professional and respectful to his work with informants, careful with details, good use of statistics, and first-rate knowledge of the Spanish language." From this letter, we also learned that Mr. Hong was the most responsible of the UC students during the fall semester. He made a thorough review of the existing bibliography, both print and digital, and was able to integrate into his argument the literature with his own findings in the field. He even had time to work for the Salvadoran consulate, who quickly understood that the young researcher from UC California was a highly qualified volunteer who could help them organize their own records on immigration abuse in Chiapas. It is on this difficult topic, and in a context far from home, that Richard sought to promote greater understanding of the human condition, and possibly to temper some of the fear that often drives public policy on immigration. Now, before asking Richard up on stage, I do have one final thank you to give. Would Richard's mother and father please join and be recognized? Please stand and be recognized. The Forum thanks you for a job very well done, and thank you for joining us. Richard.
All right, so the title of my presentation is Upon Greater Security, Greater Vulnerability, How Increased Border Enforcement in Southern Mexico Has Affected Undocumented Central American Migrants in Mexico. And in summer and fall 2010, I decided that I wanted to end my year doing something that I could, with a research project that I could call my own. And so I again applied for a program through the Education Abroad program, or the Programs Abroad office at UC San Diego. And this time it was the Mexico Field Research Program. So it was no longer a structured program. It wasn't an immersion program either. It was a program dedicated to field research. So this led me to my question: how has increased border enforcement along Mexico's southern border affected the crossing methods used by Central American migrants to make their way across Mexico in a clandestine manner? So my methodology: I spent a total of 5 months in Mexico, 4 months in Chiapas, and 7 weeks at the Mexico-Guatemala border. I got to the border at 6 a.m. and it was still very, very dark outside. And I had a friend of my professor take me to the border who said that he would walk me around for the first week and then I could do my field research at that point. But right when I got there, my professor's friend actually turned around and said, he got off the phone and he said, "There's an emergency in El Salvador. I have to leave right now. Can you do this on your own?" And I didn't want to say no, I couldn't, but I really, really couldn't actually. And so I was like, yeah. Oh, I was like, well, okay, I guess so. And he's like, all right, well, I'll leave it to you. And so I had my big backpack with me. I was carrying my laptop, I was hugging my laptop, and I was standing at the bus terminal, and I was just dropped off at the border alone, and this is what I had seen, like migrants coming in illegally, and border agents just not really caring, and it's not as if I could really blend in with anyone over there, and so I was a nervous wreck at that point, but I didn't know, should I stay or should I go? But I decided to stay because I had taken an 18-hour bus ride. And at that point, I just thought, well, I don't want to look like the scared foreigner running back to Mexico City saying that he can't do this, he wants to go home. And so, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go through with this. So this comes to my analysis, which is what I had found. This was a strictly ethnographic survey. I had a sample pool of around only 40 migrants, which probably, it's not a huge sample pool, but I only had like 7 weeks in that area at that time. But what I had found was that increasing border enforcement has not deterred migrants from crossing the border. Rather, migrants have been forced to go around immigration checkpoints. Consequently, this has actually increased the vulnerability of migrants and has exposed them to certain dangers in the crossing, hence the title of greater security, greater vulnerability. Conclusions are some takeaways from studying abroad, which again, I can't emphasize enough the uniqueness of the experience. How many undergraduates can say that they've studied in this manner? When I was traveling throughout Mexico, I often encountered a lot of graduate students from a lot of different institutions, and they'd ask me why I was here, and I told them about my research project. And they would say, oh, so is this for your doctorate, or is this for your master's? And I would say, oh, no, I haven't even graduated from my undergraduate, this is for my bachelor's degree. And they would say, UC San Diego is making you do this for your bachelor's degree just to graduate? I'm like, no, this is a completely optional program. And again, it's just the experience of the independence in directing my own studies. I had the ability to create a study plan and to implement it from the ground up and to see it work from the ground up. And that's my presentation. Thank you. Hi, my name is Richard Hong. I'm from the University of California, San Diego. Just very, very grateful for receiving this travel grant. And just studying abroad in general is just such a unique experience that I recommend. If you have the opportunity, you should definitely go for it. And just to be able to do the level of work that you can do abroad in that tight time frame, and working with academics and students from an international country, it's just fantastic. Again, very, very thankful for the Forum on Education abroad and for the award and just for hosting this entire event. So thank you.